As we step into 2026, Russia is still pushing the same story it's been telling for years now. The Kremlin wants the world to believe that Ukraine is on the brink of collapse, that its resistance is fading, that the outcome of this war is inevitable. And it's possible that Vladimir Putin has started to believe his own propaganda. But events on the ground, especially events deep inside Russia, are telling a very different story. Because just days into the new year, Ukraine delivered another powerful reminder that this war is far from over, and more importantly, that Ukraine still has plenty of fight left. In fact, Ukraine just pulled off one of its most important long-range strikes yet, hitting a critical Russian defense facility hundreds of miles from the front lines. This wasn't a random target, this wasn't symbolic, and this wasn't an accident. Ukraine struck one of the most important pieces of Russia's war machine, a facility known as Energia, a fire that Russia didn't want to explain. The first sign that something was very wrong came quietly. On January 5th, Ukrainian media outlet The Kyiv Independent reported that a fire had broken out at an industrial facility in the Russian city of Yelets, located in the Lipetsk region. At first, the report was cautious. It didn't immediately blame Ukraine, it simply said there was a fire at a plant known to manufacture critical components for Russian missiles and drones. Eyewitnesses confirmed the blaze. Photos showed thick smoke rising into the sky. Then things escalated. A Russian OSINT-focused telegram channel called Astra published images of the facility on fire and went a step further. According to Astra's analysis, this was not an accident. This was the result of a Ukrainian drone strike. They geolocated the footage, placing the source of the fire less than a kilometer from the Energia facility itself. And they reminded readers exactly what Energia does. This plant doesn't make household goods. It doesn't produce consumer electronics. Energia manufactures batteries and power systems used in Russian military drones, cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, aircraft naval systems. In other words, this is a backbone facility for Russia's military. And now it was burning. Russia's predictable response. If you followed this war for any length of time, you already know what came next. Denial, deflection, and a carefully crafted alternative explanation. The governor of the Lipetsk region, Igor Artamonov, went on Telegram to address the situation. He said firefighters had contained a fire in an industrial area following a drone crash. According to him, there were no casualties. There was no direct strike. Russian air defenses had done their job. The fire, he claimed, was caused by debris from a downed Ukrainian drone. Not a hit, just debris. This explanation has become almost routine. Whenever Ukrainian drones hit something important inside Russia, officials insist the drones never actually reach their targets. Instead, they say Russian air defenses shot them down, and the resulting debris just happened to fall precisely where Ukraine wanted to strike. It's an incredible coincidence, one that keeps happening. Russian citizens might reasonably wonder how Ukraine has managed to invent the most accurate drone debris in the world. The evidence. Russia can't hide. Despite the official narrative, the facts told a different story. The photos published by Astra clearly showed the Energia facility itself on fire. Not nearby buildings, not random infrastructure. Energia. That conclusion was backed up by another OSINT group, Dnipro official, which independently geolocated the strike. By comparing satellite imagery with ground-level photos, they confirmed that the burning structures matched Energia's layout exactly. Residents in Yelets also reported air defense activity throughout the night, and that matters, because local officials don't issue UAV red alerts unless they believe an attack is actively underway. Yelets Mayor Vyacheslav Zhabin declared such an alert early that morning, covering Yelets and several surrounding settlements. That alert shifted between red and yellow for hours. Residents reported explosions. They reported air defense fire. And they reported something else that's become a clear warning sign of a successful Ukrainian drone attack. They lost mobile internet service. Why Russia shuts down the internet. This is important. On January 5th, Russian outlet Mediazona confirmed that Russia has begun mass mobile internet shutdowns in regions where Ukrainian drones appear. Officially, Russia claims this helps air defense systems. But there's little evidence that limiting civilian mobile data improves missile interception. What it does do is prevent real-time information from spreading. It stops videos from being uploaded. It slows down reports from residents. It gives authorities time to shape the narrative. In other words, it helps control the story. But even that didn't work this time. Telegram channels still shared images. And one channel, Supernova Plus, reported that at least one Ukrainian drone directly struck a workshop inside the Energia facility. They backed this up with photos of the burning structure. That kind of damage doesn't come from falling debris, it comes from impact. A strike that doesn't add up on purpose. Russia tried another tactic. They flooded the information space with claims of successful interceptions. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, 41 Ukrainian drones were intercepted across 8 regions on the evening of January 4th. 253 drones were intercepted earlier that same day. Another 140 drones were intercepted overnight. That's over 400 drones in less than 24 hours, according to Russia's own numbers. Reuters reported a total of 437 intercepted drones. But here's the problem. The timelines don't line up. The strike on Energia occurred around 5 a.m. local time, but most of Russia's interception claims focus on earlier windows. It appears Russia may have buried the successful strike under a mountain of other interception reports, hoping it would blend in. Even if we take Russia at its word, one thing is clear. Ukraine just launched one of the largest drone assaults of the entire war, and at least some of those drones got through. Why Energia matters so much. Now let's talk about why Ukraine targeted Energia and why this strike matters far beyond one burning factory. Energia is not just another defense contractor, it is one of Russia's most important military energy suppliers. According to Ukrainian and international reporting, Energia produces lithium-ion batteries, nickel, cadmium batteries, sealed lead-acid batteries, electrochemical power systems, uninterruptible power supplies. These components are used across Russia's military. Drones, cruise, missiles, ballistic missiles, glide bombs, combat aircraft, naval vessels. Only 3 companies in Russia have comparable capabilities. Energia is the largest. It holds multi-million-dollar contracts with more than 20 defense sector clients, including direct links to the Russian Ministry of Defense. If Energia slows down or stops, Russia feels it everywhere. The Iskander problem. There's another reason Energia is such a high-value target. It supports production for some of Russia's most dangerous weapons, especially the Iskander ballistic missile. These missiles have been devastating for Ukraine. A November 2025 report from the Royal United Services Institute, RUSI, analyzed Russian missile attacks over a 3-year period. Here's what they found. Russia launched 939 Iskander and Kinzhal ballistic missiles. Ukraine intercepted just 227. That's a 24% interception rate. In most attacks, Ukraine couldn't intercept a single missile. That's not necessarily because Ukraine lacks the technology. It's also because air defense missiles are expensive and in limited supply. So Ukraine adapted. If you can't stop the missile in the air, you stop it before it's built. That's what Energia represents. Not the first time, and not the last. This wasn't Ukraine's first attempt to knock Energia offline. In 2025 alone, Ukraine struck the facility at least twice. May 23rd. A drone strike caused a major fire and injured 9 employees July 15th. Another strike hit the plant with at least 4 drones, halting production temporarily. Each attack disrupted output. Each one cost money. Each one forced repairs. And now, as 2026 begins, Ukraine has struck again. This is not random, it's systematic, setting the stage for 2026. And this brings us to the bigger picture. As Russia approaches the 4th anniversary of its invasion, the war is taking a serious toll, especially on Russia's defense industry. The boom years are over, growth is slowing, debt is rising, labor shortages are mounting, sanctions are biting harder, and Ukrainian drones keep showing up again and again. The strike on Energia wasn't just about damage, it was about pressure, and that pressure is only going to increase. Russia's war industry is cracking. So let's zoom out for a moment, because the strike on the Energia plant isn't just about one factory, it's about something much bigger. For most of this war, Russia's defense industry looked unstoppable. Putin put the entire economy on a war footing, pumped huge amounts of money into weapons production, and for a while, it worked. Factories expanded, production surged, Russia kept firing missiles. But now, as we enter 2026, that momentum is breaking, and Ukraine knows it. That's why strikes like the one on Energia matter so much right now. The boom is over. By late 2025, cracks started to show. Russian government data published by Rosstat their own statistics agency, revealed something unexpected. After 3 straight years of double-digit growth, Russia's military-industrial sector began to stall. Some categories actually shrank. For example, production of fabricated metal products dropped after years of rapid growth. Output of tanks and armored vehicles slowed dramatically. Growth that once exceeded 60% fell into single digits. That's not a healthy war economy. That's a system hitting its limits. Money problems inside the war machine. And it's not just production numbers. Russian defense companies are running out of cash. Some of the biggest names in Russia's arms industry are now drowning in debt. One major combat aircraft manufacturer is struggling to pay its contractors, so badly that creditors have taken the company to court. One of Russia's top drone manufacturers has faced millions of dollars in debt claims in just a few months. These are not small firms. These are core pillars of Russia's military power, and they're hurting. Why Ukrainian strikes hurt more now? This is where Ukraine's strategy becomes clear. Ukraine knows Russia will repair damaged factories, but repairs cost money, downtime costs money, lost components cost money, and right now, Russia has less money to spare than ever before. Every drone strike forces Russia to divert funds from frontline operations, delay weapons deliveries, stretch already fragile supply chains. It's not about one knockout blow, it's about exhaustion, death by 1,000 cuts. Ukraine is playing a long game. Instead of trying to destroy Russia's military in one dramatic moment, Ukraine is slowly bleeding the system. Strike a battery factory, hit a drone workshop, disrupt missile components. Over time, the pressure adds up. And as Russia's war industry weakens, so does its ability to fight and to negotiate from a position of strength. Why this matters going forward. This is why the Energia strike is a warning, not just to Moscow, but to Putin personally. Ukraine isn't running out of options, it's expanding them. Ukraine's deep strike strategy is changing the war. At this point, one thing should be very clear. Ukraine isn't just reacting anymore, it's shaping the battlefield, far beyond the front lines. The strike on the Energia plant wasn't an isolated event. It was part of a much bigger shift in how Ukraine is fighting this war as it moves into 2026. And that shift centers on one thing: deep strike drones. Why Ukraine is hitting deep inside Russia. For most of the war, Russia had a major advantage. It could launch missiles from deep inside its own territory, far from danger. Ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, glide bombs, many of them were fired from locations Ukraine simply couldn't reach. That gave Russia confidence. As long as the missiles could launch, Russia knew many of them would get through. So Ukraine adapted. If you can't reliably stop every missile in the air, you stop the system that makes them. That means factories, power systems, logistics hubs, fuel depots, and defense contractors like Energia. Ukraine's drones are getting better and more frequent. What's changed in the last year isn't just where Ukraine is striking, it's how often. According to multiple reports, Ukraine has targeted Russian territory with drones almost daily since the start of 2026. Moscow itself has been hit repeatedly. That alone would have been unthinkable earlier in the war. These aren't symbolic attacks. They force Russia to keep air defenses on constant alert, shut down airports, disrupt civilian life, spend money defending areas once considered safe. Every drone costs Ukraine a fraction of what Russia spends trying to stop it. That imbalance matters. Information warfare in the sky. There's another layer to these strikes: psychological pressure. When drones reach deep into Russia, they send a message. No place is completely safe. Residents hear air defense fire. They lose mobile internet. They see smoke rising from industrial sites. And the government responds with vague statements and contradictions. That erodes confidence. It also forces Russia to work harder to control the narrative, sometimes unsuccessfully. While Ukraine isn't claiming responsibility, you may have noticed something else. Ukraine often doesn't confirm or deny these attacks. That's intentional. By staying quiet, Ukraine keeps Russia guessing, avoids revealing drone capabilities, lets visual evidence speak for itself. Photos of burning factories do more than any press release ever could, building leverage for peace talks. There's also a political goal behind this campaign. Ukraine knows that peace talks, formal or informal, are always influenced by leverage. Territory matters, military momentum matters, economic pressure matters. By weakening Russia's ability to produce weapons, Ukraine slows Russia's advances on the battlefield. And that changes the conversation. It limits the gains Russia can claim. It raises the cost of continuing the war. And it strengthens Ukraine's hand. The long-term impact. Here's the key point. Ukraine doesn't need to completely shut down Russia's defense industry overnight. It just needs to keep it unstable. Delayed production, missed deadlines, rising debt, mounting repairs. Over time, those problems snowball. And as Russia's war economy struggles, so does Putin's ability to keep fighting at the same intensity. What this means for 2026. If this pace continues, 2026 won't just be another year of fighting. It could be a turning point. Ukraine is proving it can strike where it matters most, again and again. The pressure is reaching Putin himself. By now, the picture should be clear. Ukraine's drone strikes aren't just tactical attacks. They're strategic pressure aimed straight at the core of Russia's war effort. And that pressure is starting to reach Vladimir Putin personally. Putin's biggest problem isn't the front line. For years, Putin relied on one assumption, that Russia's size, industry, and resources would eventually overwhelm Ukraine. But that assumption is breaking down. Ukraine is now hitting weapons factories, energy systems, logistics, hubs, defense contractors deep inside Russia, places that were never supposed to be touched. Every strike forces Putin to answer uncomfortable questions. Why aren't our defenses stopping this? Why are critical factories burning? How much longer can we afford this? These aren't questions Russia's leadership likes to face. A war economy under strain. Russia's war economy is no longer in expansion mode. It's in survival mode. Defense companies are struggling with debt labor shortages, supply chain disruptions, sanctions-repeated Ukrainian strikes. Every time a facility like Energia is hit, it adds another weight to an already overloaded system. Repair costs pile up, production schedules slip, confidence erodes. And once that confidence is gone, it's very hard to restore. Russia is losing more than factories. This isn't just about money or weapons, it's about control. The Russian government is increasingly forced to shut down mobile, internet-restricted information, issue vague or conflicting statements that signals weakness. When citizens see smoke rising from strategic sites and hear explosions in cities far from the front, the illusion of total control starts to crack. And for a system built on control, that's dangerous. Why this matters for the war's endgame. Ukraine's strategy is clear. It's not trying to win tomorrow, it's trying to make the war too expensive to continue. By degrading Russia's ability to produce weapons, Ukraine slows Russian advances, reduces pressure on the front lines, weakens Russia's bargaining position that matters when peace talks come into play. A Russia that can't sustain its war economy doesn't get to dictate terms. What comes next? If Ukraine continues this campaign into 2026, Russia faces a hard reality. It can spend billions defending factories instead of fighting, keep repairing damage while falling further behind, or reconsider how much this war is really worth. There are no easy choices left, and that's exactly where Ukraine wants Russia to be. Final thought. The strike on Energia wasn't just another drone attack. It was a message that Ukraine is still in this fight, that it's adapting, and that Russia's core is no longer untouchable. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Ukraine's deep strike drone campaign can actually force Russia to change course? Or will Russia find a way to absorb the damage and keep going? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read them all. If you found this breakdown useful, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more clear, no-nonsense coverage of the war and Ukraine's evolving strategy. We'll see you in the next one.